Should you, the observer, who missed Zhongli like me 2 times now, pull for him in the current banner? The short answer is no, just like any other limited 5-star character in Genshin. But wait, you didn't click on this video to hear that. Hi, I'm Megamin. Today, we are looking into Zhongli's history. At the end of this video, let me know if I convinced you enough to pull on his banner, or if you are watching from the future, lost your 50-50 and now saving for Yae Miko. Let's get this out of the way first. I'm not a guide maker, so I can't help you too much when it comes to whether it's a good thing to pull him or not in a meta perspective. But from what I learned, he will not increase your overall DPS. But if you are using a squishy DPS like Ganyu or Xiao or a Mono Geo team, he is a good addition. Again, I don't use any and have no intention of using them. I call him a cheat code. After skipping and missing his banner 2 times, I've learned to dodge. But don't take what I say too seriously about these stuffs, cause I don't bother 36 starring Abyss too. It's a pain to go back and change characters to fit the chamber. Sorry about the rant. Now that I made you not want to pull him, kinda, let me convince you again from the way I know. When it comes to origin stories of characters, there are some mysterious ones like Ajax's and tragic stories like Rosaria's and Beidou's. But if you really think about it, Zhongli has one of the most mysterious origins, though it's not heavily talked about anywhere, cause when it comes to Zhongli, everyone turns their attention to him being the oldest Archon and the creator of Liyue. Because no one really looks into his origin, and miHoYo hid it under the rug so well, we have no clue where to he was born. The wiki and the people of Liyue like to say all Adaptai came from Celestia, but as I explained in my Adaptai video, there is no such statements made around lore about Celestia, nor anything from in-game descriptions or any Adaptai that have correctly confirmed that. And if you have seen my last video on the origins of Engonomia, in Celestia, there are not many who can stay there, except for the obvious 7 Archons and the 4 Shards. When it comes to any mythical beings in Teyvat, people are quick to say they all came from Celestia cause it's said they descended from somewhere. An example is Divalan. No one really knows where he came from or have seen it descend. We just believe that he came from Celestia cause it's written somewhere. From what I understood, like how Adaptai make Adaptai realms for themselves, there might have been a larger plane where all the mythical beings in Liyue originated, someplace on a different pocket dimension or something like that. I won't say bubble universe cause people who like to connect Honkai and Genshin get carried away a bit too much with these things. There are 3 realms in the Dark Sea, the Void Realm, the Bishop Realm, and the Human Realm. Like that, different realms may exist in the surface Teyvat too. And I believe this Adaptai plane is where Rexlapus, or whatever his real name was called back then, was born, including all the other Adaptai who are super old now, like the Chilin, 2 Cranes and the 2 Deers. Not sure about the Yaksha though. When it comes to Adaptai, there is a clear hierarchy amongst the beasts, and at the top of the food chain, there are dragons. And wouldn't you know it, Rexlapus is one of them. Then there are Chi, Chilin and all the other beasts. Even in Chinese myths, there are 4 beast seals that resemble 4 gods or winds. There, the Azure Dragon is considered the strongest in some places, amongst the White Tiger, Vermilion Bird aka Phoenix and Black Tortoise. Another thing to mention, when it comes to Chinese fantasy and fiction, at least from the 10 martial arts manhwa I read, bloodlines make a huge difference in ability and power. So higher the purity and ranking of the beast blood in individual Adaptai, their power also increase, making Rexlapus from birth one of the strongest beings in Liyue. If you think Rexlapus is truly the strongest Archon in Teyvat, hit that like and subscribe buttons. If you think someone else is stronger than Rexlapus in Teyvat, leave a comment below. Sometime before the Archon War, close to 1000 to 2000 years before, because usually it takes at least 1000 years to build a civilization from scratch. During this time, Rexlapus descended to Teyvat. But before that, Guizhang descended and had already built a civilization north of Liyue. Rexlapus then built his own civilization a bit north from Mount Tianhe. Legend has it that Morax struck stone with stone and fire was created and was known as the stove god by some people. But as we all know, Machosius is that stove god. It's possible that from that initial flame Morax created, Machosius was born, but it's hard to prove that that's the exact case. Rex Lapis, as the geogod, led people into mining Mount Tianhen for jade and other precious ores. Due to this, these people were really rich. I don't think it's wrong to say they were the richest in Teyvat by the time. But after some time, the area where Guizhang and her people settled down flooded and had to move south from where they were and resettled north of where Rex Lapis' area was. According to Stone Tablet Compilation Volume 1 and Memory of Dust, Guizhang and Rex Lapis met on a glazed lily garden and agreed with one another and made the Guili assembly, and the area was also called Guili Plains. It's interesting how they mixed both their names and made this name, Guizhang and Zhongli. If you remove the Zhong part from their names and combine it together, you get Guili. Didn't know ship names existed back then too. Oh well, I guess it's a common thing. I remember reading a manhwa called Versatile Maids that did the same thing for a land they recently bought. Anyway, fast forward to Archon War era. At the start of the Archon War, Rex Lapis was a brutal god of war. He killed his opponents entirely, but as we figured out in this video, for a god to ascend to Celestia and take the Gnosis, all the other gods had to be either killed, sealed or chased away from that region. If you go around Liyue, few places are blocked up by rocks and talismans are placed around them. They also emit slight elemental radiation that attracts creatures like slimes. If you remember from Deluxe Story Quest, which you probably don't, he showed us that slimes are attracted to extracts from different elemental flowers. These extracts are like different essential oils from plants that have high concentration of scents. Just like that, slimes of individual elements get attracted to these seals, like these cryo slimes. This leads me to believe these are graves or seals of fallen gods by the hands of Rex Lapis. Same with Osael, but everyone knows about him. No need to mention that again. Well, after he killed all his enemies, remember, he should kill everyone else too. Not sure how many of his comrades he killed before Guizhang, but I would say Guizhang was the first. Matches with the popular anime trope where someone says, "Don't kill my friends, kill me instead." Somehow, they got into a fight in the same place they met. At the end of the battle, Guizhang died, leaving the memory of dust that holds her secrets behind for Rex Lapis to solve. The end. Not really. If you look down at the red line below, there is still some more to tell. By the way, Rex Lapis never solved the memory of dust, and now it's on someone's main DPS Ningguang. It's kinda ironic how Ningguang is said to be Guizhang's reincarnation, and it's her best in slot weapon. Anyway, back to Zhongli before I forget this video is about him. So in the end, he probably sealed most of his friend gods who were persistent enough. And other gods like Machosius sacrificed them to purify the land tainted by the dead gods miasma. And some probably ran off to the dark sea like the Orobashi. If you want to know what's so special about the Gnosis that they killed each other, check out my video about the Gnosis. During this time, another flood came. Rex Lapis and the Adaptai evacuated the people south of Mount Tianhe, where current Liyue is. There he rebuilt his civilization. That's mostly all the important details I want to talk about in his origins tied with Liyue. Rest is mostly everything you already know from Archon Quest and all the stuff. Now let me tell you a few interesting things about Zhongli and stuff tied to him. You know the whole deal with his idle animation.
Osmanthus wine tastes the same as I remember. But where are those who share the memory?
Right. Here he talks about the first 7 who gathered in Liyue to talk about stuff. But now 5 of the 7 have been replaced. They not only forgot to visit each other, but they have also forgotten why they came into that position and what the originals had to go through to get there. They forgot their duty to guide humanity. There is a big emphasis on this duty in Zhongli's Story 5, which made me think, maybe I was right back then when I said Gnosis required compassion towards humans from the original 7. Another thing I realized after really understanding Zhongli's story is that Archons were not crowned all at once 1000 years after the war. Whenever they met the requirements, they automatically ascended to Celestia. The selection war ended when the last of the 7 met those requirements. I found this line kinda interesting too. It goes like this. He will attend the most celebrated performances and be accompanied by the loveliest thrushes. I don't think he is accompanied by birds here. Maybe I am overthinking. And also, Rex Lapis made the Archaic Petra set. From that, I end my observations. I hope you learned something new from this video. If you did learn something new, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out any of my future videos. What am I saying? Of course you did learn something new. I don't think any of you read manhwa. That's Chinese manga with a hua at the end. Now you have to subscribe. If you do read manhwa, props to you, fellow power fantasy trash fan. Anyway, this is just a theory in a random dude's head on the internet. If you are interested in this series, you can check out my last video on it about Venti and the misunderstood tyrant. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, let your imaginations run wild.